say you've done some recording, radio, or was it?
Yeah. Former business.
Oh, what was that?
Interior design business. Just interviewed a few times.
Oh, okay.
What's that?
Is it good?
Yeah, it's good.
All right, we're good to go. We're recording on all fronts.
Nice. Do you want to just maybe flip your helmet over so we can? There we go.
Put it on the side though.
Hello. There you go.
There we go.
Hello?
Hello, testing. 1 2 1 2 1 2.
Are you sponsored by
Headphones
Bontrager?
I'm not that
Hopefully,
good.
maybe you will now.
I'm not that good.
All right, we are rolling.
Camelback to sponsor you.
Welcome to the Sanibel Captiva Guide podcast. Today we have. Do you want to start off on that camera 4, Max?
Sure.
Today we have Havel Todd. Yeah, I'm ready. Born ready.
8 days early.
8 days early, according to Charlie. Hello, and welcome to this episode of the Sanibel Captiva Guide podcast. Thanks very much for joining us. I'd like you to welcome our guest, Allison Todd, the Vice President of the Sanibel Bicycle Club. Welcome.
Thank you.
Allison.
I appreciate you having me here to talk with you
Yes.
today.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about the bike
And it's
club.
not Havel Todd. That's 2 separate words. Not that it matters, but
2 separate words?
Yeah, Havel
Todd.
Todd.
Okay.
I like to make it complicated.
Yeah.
Okay, Havel Todd. Okay.
Just in case anybody wants to look her up.
Just go with Todd.
Okay, got it.
Or
Got it. Okay, so tell us a little bit about the bicycle club, the history of it, and how it started.
I shall do. It was originally founded in 1994, and it was just from a group of avid cyclists on the island who just decided we want to get together and have some fun social riding and do some things together. And then over the years, it has really expanded. At this point, I believe we are just shy of 200 members.
Oh, wow.
Many of us are full-time residents. Many are seasonal. Some are just visitors. So people that come and visit the island and learn about the bicycle club will come out and join us on some of our weekly rides.
Oh, very
and
cool.
events like that. So it has grown over the years so that we really have become an advocate for safe cycling and working with the city to make sure that the infrastructure of our shared use paths are well maintained, that visitors and residents are aware of safe cycling practices. And we also do just a lot of fun social events in addition to just cycling. We do other things.
Right. So you mentioned the shared use path, which a lot of people think of the paths as a bicycle path, but describe what it actually is to everybody.
And we do need to be careful about that. There are a lot of cyclists who think that it's their path, and it's not. It is a shared use path, or we call it a SUP, which means it is friendly for use to pedestrians, cyclists, anybody non-motorized vehicle to use and enjoy on the island, and we all have to be very respectful of each other. And there's some guidelines, I can share about that for both. I've written some articles about bike cycling from the point of view of a cyclist, and also if for motorists, there's smart things that we can all be doing to be courteous of each other.
Right. Which, we know that our office here, we actually have to cross the shared use path to get in and out of our office. So we are definitely very aware of anybody that's coming up and down the paths.
And any of us who are on the island during peak season have learned that there's no better way to get around than on a bicycle.
Right.
It's a great means of transportation if you live or work here, and it's a great way to get around the island if you're visiting. I mean, the best way, if you're going through Ding Darling Wildlife Refuge or visiting any of the beaches, one of the best ways to get around this island is by bicycle.
And we have a bike sitting next door.
Right.
For that very reason.
Right. Yeah, which is our daughter works at Spoondrift Island Bowls, which is one of our favorite places, and it's about a mile from our office. So she'll drive from high school, park at our office, take the bike, ride down to Bailey's where Spoondrift is, work, ride back again.
Because she
Waving
finishes
at the
right at
cars
5
as she-
o'clock when the traffic is at its worst. So it saves her a lot of time to come back down.
And while we're doing this interview, we're at the height of traffic, and you actually came to our interview on your bike.
I ride my bike everywhere. I think I might fill up the tank of my car once a month at best.
Wow.
Really?
I will ride my bike everywhere. Between my husband and I, we have 8 bicycles. There's something for every use. Got the road bike for the fast, speedy riding, and then the little island cruisers to just, noodle around. The basket bike, as people call them.
Right.
The mountain bikes for doing some trail riding, and you can't have too many bicycles.
Yeah.
There you go.
And I think I read you actually moved to Sanibel because of the shared use path.
That was
the
one of
bicycling.
the reasons when we were looking around and knew we wanted to be in this area and familiar with the area. I've been to other areas in Florida, but one of the things we're searching is a bicycle-friendly community and a place that it's safe to ride bikes. So we're both avid cyclists, and where else can you live or visit to walk out your door, hop on your bike, and ride safely to anywhere you care to go on Sanibel or Captiva Island?
Right.
How many places can you do that?
Was there 26 miles of paths?
They say 25.
I think 25-ish.
Yeah.
Right. I'd like to know exactly.
Yeah.
Can you get out there?
I always hear an about or approximately.
Yeah, I see
Yeah.
24, 26. So,
Yeah.
Well, are you
all right.
taking the inside lane or are you taking the outside?
Oh,
Could
this
make a
is
difference.
True.
Yeah.
All right.
True.
Yeah,
All right,
there's no
Allison.
way it's possible to exactly measure, is it?
I
Unless you
think there
measured
is.
down the center. Ooh.
Allison, we're charging you.
All right, I'll
Getting
do it.
the
I'll have to go
exact-
right down the middle of the path.
Right,
It'll have to
exactly.
be in the middle of the
the
night.
night. Exactly. But
can do
report back to us.
Yeah.
I want to know to the whatever it is, not
There-
centimeter, but
They're really, I can't think of anywhere where you would want to be going, especially on Sanibel, where the shared use paths are. Captiva doesn't have the shared use paths yet. They're part of Lee County, so we don't have the same jurisdiction there. They do have a pretty nice wide shoulder for cyclists to ride on, but not a shared use path yet.
that's separated from
Correct.
the actual road.
But on Sanibel in particular, you can ride anywhere you need to go by bicycle.
Yeah.
You need to
Yeah. And there's these also places to park them.
everywhere.
What a bonus.
Everywhere.
Yes,
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
So,
the racks for everybody, and
so how many events how many rides do you have?
Well, during season, which for us starts in January through April, we will have scheduled weekly rides. We'll do a Wednesday, what's called a lunch ride, which is very informal. It's pretty much for whoever shows up. It might be a handful of people. There's no set leader on that ride, but whoever shows up, they'll do a short little ride that tends to be a very, very modest, relaxed pace group. It might be more entry-level oriented. They'll do a nice light ride, and between the group, they decide on when they want to have lunch.
all right, I'm down.
It's a
Sounds
good.
perfect.
That's a good one if you just, really just you're not looking for anything
Yeah.
intense.
Did you always meet at the same spot, a
We
starting
do.
spot?
The
And where's
Community
that?
Park on Wednesday morning. It's 11 o'clock. The major ride is Saturday mornings, so we'll meet there.
Explain where the community park is for those that don't know. Just a quick message before we get back to the show. We put a ton of effort into bringing you quality content, so if you would like to help us share our love of the islands, here are several easy ways. Firstly, you can support us on Patreon. You could purchase an island souvenir from our Etsy store. You can metaphorically buy us a coffee, which is an easy way to donate a couple of bucks.
Don't you prefer tea?
Well, I do, kind of. Also, like and subscribe to our channel to keep up to date with all things Sanibel and Captiva. And finally, show some love to our sponsors. Let them know we sent you. All the links are in the description below. Now, back to the episode. Explain where the community park is for those that don't know.
The community park is on Periwinkle Way, which is right next to the Sanibel Community House, where the playground is.
Yep.
Perfect. So
Yeah.
just north of...
And there is parking there, so if you want to actually, I guess, drive your bike on your car, you can park there.
We do have plenty of members who do not live on the islands. There are people that will drive over from Fort Myers. We have members that are from Fort Myers come over and do the weekly rides. Some of them will ride over the causeway, some of them will drive, and they just park.
Right,
at
and
the
it's
community
free
park.
parking right there,
Yep.
easy.
Plenty of parking.
Yeah.
And then Saturday morning, the bigger ride, this time of year when we're at peak season, we may have 25 or 30 riders in every different skill level. So one of the things I wanted to, talk about is this myth as I meet people and they learn, oh, you're with the bicycle club. I either hear, ooh, I don't know if I can keep up with you guys. You're too fast. Or I'll hear, I don't have a fancy bike. Or, is it just a bunch of old people, riding 10 miles an hour? I hear both of these. And I said,
Okay.
well,
It's probably none of those, is it?
well, yes, and everything in between.
Yeah.
So, on the Saturday morning ride, we'll have a group that will just do a short little 10-mile easy ride and maybe end up at La Normandy restaurant over on West Gulf Drive. Very low-key ride. They'll stop and have breakfast. We've got a intermediate group that'll ride through the Ding Darling Wildlife Refuge, and then they end up having breakfast at typically Sunset Grill right there at Santiva.
Right, Santiva.
And then ride back. And then there's a larger group that will do the same thing. We'll ride through the Ding Darling Wildlife Refuge. Sometimes we'll go through another neighborhood or two down there, and then ride all the way down to Captiva, have a quick break, coffee, juice, whatever, and then come back, and people take various routes back. So we can...
And what kind of mileage would that be?
The longer rides, that route could be anywhere from 25 to 40. Some of us will add on at the end of that ride and come up West Gulf and do the Lighthouse route. So you can really... You can tailor it to what you want to do. And it's not like we have all these twists and turns and curves, and directions. It's like nobody's going to get lost. And usually there's one of us that will keep an eye on newer riders to make sure they're with somebody and not going to get left behind.
And even if you do get lost, you can definitely find your way back to where you started. It's pretty easy.
So basically people could go at the distance they want, at the pace that they want.
Turn around when they're done.
It's just a great way to meet some other people of like-minded people. And we even have members in the club who don't really ride.
They
like to support the idea of having a bicycle friendly community and an organization that promotes bicycle safety. We do a monthly potluck supper during the season. Right now we're having them at the community house where your members get together and everybody brings some dish of some sort. And we have a speaker in that's somebody relevant to the cycling industry or relevant to cycling topics. Like recently we had some of the leaders of the city in to talk to us about some of the plans on upgrading and maintaining the shared use paths. So there's a lot of...
Can you share anything that came out of that?
Yes. I think many of us who ride the paths often are aware that in the past couple of years, some of this had to get set aside because of budgetary reasons. It's come back to the front of the radar that there's some need for maintenance on the trails. There's a lot of root heaves and things that can jar you and some vegetation creep on different sides. And the city asked the bike club if we would survey the paths and come up with a list of the areas that we felt needed some attention, which we did. And they listened to and are very, very dedicated to putting these plans in place. And from what I hear in a recent meeting, having it completed some point this summer.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
So we can look forward to no more some less bumpy rides and a little safer cycling.
So it's like the roots from the trees grow into the paths and pop the paths up.
Does the more advanced group, do they ride on the road?
Yeah, I'll talk about that a little bit. Some yes and some no. And I know that there's a lot of sometimes misunderstanding and contentiousness between cyclists and drivers, but I would like to address that a little bit.
Yeah, there is, because there's a bunch of Facebook pages that are Sanibel centric, and there's always a back and forth.
People get angry on both sides.
And why are we going so slow? We're going behind these bikers.
I'll address something, and I see both sides of the equation. So I'm a driver and a cyclist, so I understand the frustration on both sides. Florida law does allow for cyclists to be on the road. I mean, we are considered a vehicle, and vehicles are legally required to give us a 3-foot buffer when passing. I think the misunderstanding is people think we're not allowed on the roads, get on the path, they yell, they beat their horn.
Why else do we have a path there if you're not riding on it?
Given that, I think for people that are more serious and avid cyclists, they're riding a road bike, the skinny little tires, the drop handlebars, we're exceeding speeds of 20 miles an hour at sometimes and riding in a group of 4 or 5 or 6, try not to get too much bigger than that in one stream. It's not safe for us or anybody else on the path to be riding on the path.
Right. Going those speeds.
Right. And, with some visitor might have stepped off their bike and they're, around a blind corner and they want to take a picture of the beautiful bird they see. But, you're coming around a corner.
Or walking dogs, which is a lot of.
Correct. Retractable leashes and strollers. So there can be a lot of dangers for people that are riding at higher speeds. Given that, I also, we try to promote, if we're riding in bigger groups and some of the cyclists are riding on the road, is to break up into smaller groups so cars aren't put in the position of having to try to pass this really long train.
Right.
I get the frustration in that.
Yeah.
That's no fun for anybody. I would suggest or encourage people that are more recreational cyclists, you ride in the island cruiser or the trikes or recumbents, it's safer for them to stay on the paths.
Yeah.
Most of the time, if I'm riding by myself, I'll be on the path. I just feel safer that way. But if I'm in a group and I'm riding a higher speed, I will go on the road.
And I used to cycle myself, and I think that people don't understand that if you're trying to get a lot of miles under your belt, if you imagine driving down Periwinkle, which has a driveway every 20 yards that you basically have to slow down and stop to, then it's impossible to do 40, 50, 60, 70 miles when you're stopping every 20 seconds and
worrying about somebody pulling out.
Worrying about pulling it out. So I'd say to anybody, don't get frustrated about these cyclists that are actually on the road. They're probably going to go 10 times as far as you're going to go in your car, and the small inconvenience of having to pull out around them, they've got every right to be there. And as a cyclist, I know how annoying it is when people get upset with you when you could literally just pull out. I think some cyclists do have a way of irritating traffic. I've had it where cycle groups will spread out over a bend so that people don't pass them. That's really not on. I mean, it's not good for anybody.
And it doesn't sound like the club is as that way.
We try to be very conscientious and respectful, and I think all of us are aware of, as in any group, there are always a few that give an entire group a bad name or bad impression, and I'm not saying that there aren't some cyclists, and I see it in Fort Myers, that are, they're riding recklessly, they're not stopping at stop signs, they're not signaling to turn, they're riding 3 abreast in the middle of the road. We really try to avoid those practices on the island,
because you are treated like a vehicle, which means you have to come to a complete stop at the stop sign and signal to
signal to
let people
turn.
know what you're doing.
Yeah, so it takes a bit of understanding from both sides, I think.
Yeah, and I like to, most people are here if they're getting paid. I mean, you're on vacation or you live here or maybe you're working here. The times we're riding are usually early in the morning.
Right.
And most likely these people are on vacation.
99% of people that come here on vacation should be on the shared use.
What's your hurry?
Exactly.
It's not worth
5 minutes.
It's not worth the risk of saving
everybody.
An extra 10 seconds to get to the next turn a little quicker. If we're riding 20 miles an hour plus, the speed limit's 30. And this time of year, I don't know that anybody's going that fast anyway.
Which you were saying you like to ride because you can pass on by these.
Yeah.
And it's kind of.
I think it's all about everybody being courteous to each other.
Yeah, for sure.
We all have the right to be there, and we're all sharing the same island, the same space, and we're all enjoying it in our own way.
Yeah.
Just be nice.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
Just perfect.
We could all live by that.
Nice.
Just be nice.
Be nice.
Exactly.
Be nice.
I agree. Yeah. So how can everybody find out about your rides? Where social media? How do we find you?
The website will be the best point right now. It's sanibelbicycleclub.org. There will be an updated calendar on there, information about all our events. We do, I should mention, a lot of off-island rides too. During the season, once a month, we'll pick a location or destination off-island and sign up in advance and go. And some of that, is cycling related. Some of it is kind of touring related. We took a group out to Boca Grande recently on the Lady Chadwick with Captiva
fun.
Cruises, and everybody got to take their bike on the boat.
That's
cool. They, drop us
cool.
off over at Boca Grande, and we've got the whole afternoon out there to, just noodle around on the bikes, have lunch, and then enjoy the boat ride back. Just came back from a trip to Everglades City in Shark Valley.
Okay.
Never been there. Everglades.
I haven't been there
Shark
either.
Valley. What's Shark
Would you
Valley?
recommend it?
I would.
I've heard about it.
It's about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hour drive from here. But you feel like you're stepping back into, another world and another time.
Right.
So you go down south, instead of heading across the 75, you go further south, and you go across US 41. You used to be the Alligator Alley, the east-west corridor.
Alley.
Right.
And then you take a right and you go even further south, and you head down south until really it's the last point of humanization, really, which is Everglades City.
It's just right.
But what's the shark bit? What's the
Shark Valley is a national park, so it's really just a little east of Everglades City, maybe about 45 minutes east. It's a park. You can drive through part of it, but the part we go through is all just cycling, and they've got a tram that goes through there, and you're just surrounded by the Everglades.
I'm not sure I've ever been there.
Really
Did you
fun.
see
It's
lots of
15 mile loop.
alligators?
a lot.
How about sharks?
I don't,
Which is so weird. Why did they name it Shark Valley?
Well, that's why I was asking.
I don't know that. Maybe
Right.
who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe back when the Everglades used to be not
under
above ground, or
underwater.
they're completely
Right.
underground.
Gotcha. I always wondered that.
So we do a lot of trips in addition to just the weekly rides. We do like the potlucks, and those are opportunities for people that are riding in the different groups in particular. So on a Saturday morning, there's you may never see some people that are in the club because you're riding to different destinations and doing different speeds and enjoying it a different way. But at the monthly events, that's an opportunity for everybody to get together and socialize and meet new members. So I think
that's fun.
Yeah, I mean,
sounds like fun.
Is there a membership fee that you have to pay?
I believe it is $35 a year, for an individual, or $40 for a family membership, and everything can be done on the website. You can, fill out a brief application. We ask everybody to sign a waiver and agree to wear their helmet.
Right. I was going to ask
ride.
you that when obviously if you're coming and visiting, things you need to wear a helmet. Yep.
Big advocates of helmets.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you always wear bright colours. I see you out. So,
do you?
Yes.
There you go. You got your shirt on.
Bicycle Club jersey.
So do you have those for sale too?
So we do. On the website, we'll have we've got a couple times a year where we open up the opportunity for people to buy different gear that's logoed with the Sanibel Bicycle Club logo.
So plenty of rental places on the island for bicycles, but anybody you particularly recommend?
Oh, well, personally, I love Billy's.
Right.
They
we do too.
They do. I get all my bikes serviced at Billy's. I've bought every time I go there for a light, I end up with a bike for some reason.
That's how that works.
I think they're great and they're friendly. And as far as the cyclists, they have something for everybody there.
And they have some high-end road bikes
really
that you can you can actually rent
do.
if you want to go fast.
Yes.
Yeah. And I love the shirt because you have the Sanibel Lighthouse, you have the Spoon Bill, you have the bikers on the back. Yeah, you have a pelican on the back. So it would be a great souvenir for anybody to take back.
You said you used to ride, Nick.
Yeah.
What happened?
So I'll tell you a little story. I got my bike out the other day because I'm actually...
Your bike out?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you said your back.
No, my bike.
Okay.
So I was going to start riding again because I need to lose a few pounds. So I took it off the wall and I went riding and clipped in and started riding down the road, went round the corner, and just as I thought, this guy's not going to pull out on me, he did. He reversed out on me. Not a big deal. I could stop, and I sort of saw it coming. And when I went to unclip from the clippings, it wouldn't unclip. So I just slowed down to a halt and then just fell over sideways. So good. Actually, what had happened is the metal plate on my cleats had actually twisted off. So I would never have got out of it. But yeah, I'll have to revisit that and get back into it.
You need to come and ride with us.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
It's a fun group.
Back.
Lots of age spans, lots of abilities. Just really very welcoming group. That was one of the reasons when we first moved here. I Googled bicycle clubs and found the Sanibel Bicycle Club and emailed them and say, hey, I'm just visiting on the island right now. We're thinking about moving here. Can I join one of your rides? Like, yeah, come on. And, I joined right away and then got roped into being on the board.
You're vice president.
Vice president. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So what do you think about riding at night? Because I know Sanibel has a light ordinance, so it is very dark at night. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I like to ride my bike everywhere. I just met some friends at a restaurant and rode my bike there and back last night, but I'm well lit. So I really, really encourage people to have the front light preferably white and blinking, and a rear light preferably red and blinking so that you're visible. You think that you're seen, but you're invisible out there. I was just walking out the other night to get some ice cream and watching all the cyclists out there in the complete dark and no lights, and it scares me. So I think it's great to cycle at night. Not if you've been drinking. Maybe not a good idea to be driving.
Probably not
or riding.
legal either. I don't think.
Stick to walking if that's the case, or Uber or Island Taxi. But the lighting is key. Yeah, really key. If you're gonna be out at night, and even when it's not dark, I'll see if it's dark enough for cars to have their lights on. You should have your lights on your bike because you just even at that dusk time, you're really not visible in the shadows. Yeah.
No, I agree. Definitely. Yeah. Good.
Absolutely.
Good pointer.
So, any tips for visiting cyclists? Anything that you'd say that they wouldn't know from their hometown, or anything that they wouldn't necessarily have to do? Max told me off for rephrasing the question, so I'm going to put it one way. Any advice you'd give them?
On what? Wait,
Max told me off because I ask a question and I say it 3 different ways.
Okay.
So he said you got to
Say it
stop doing
another way. Say it
So
another
I'm like, is there any advice you'd give visiting cyclists that something that they wouldn't have at home? Like, is there anything unusual about biking around on the islands?
As far as places to enjoy or visit or safety?
Safety.
Both?
Or anything.
Okay.
Anything that surprised you when
I'll
you
do both.
first... Yeah.
I think it's fun to kind of get off the beaten paths too, because if you're not riding a little skinny tower road bike, maybe you get a little wider tower bike. There's a lot of trails around this island. There's some really fun places to explore if you're willing to venture out a little bit.
Yeah.
And I'm always amazed at how many people I run across who've lived here a long time. And I said, yeah, have you ever been, through the Franny Preserve and the trail that cuts through there and over the Bailey Track? And they look at me like, what? I was like, you need to get out a little bit.
Yeah.
Adventure. I mean, seek and look for new things.
Yep.
Apple
Trail.
Trail, just fantastic. I think, too, the best way to go through the wildlife refuge is on a bike.
Yeah,
slowly.
Yeah.
And really just enjoy it.
Jump on and off whenever you want to.
That's the best
And
way
you
to
can
see
actually ride on the beach too, not a rental bike because they don't like their bikes getting...
Do you ever ride on the beach?
No, I think they're... that's sort of discouraged for many reasons here.
Because of the birds, I'm guessing?
I think the rental companies probably don't like it because
of their chains.
Sand
but
and oil are not a
it's
good
not
mix.
a law, but everybody seems to suggest that it is, but it's actually not. You can legally
wildlife
ride on
concern, anything that's disturbing, anything natural. I think there's some conversation about whether there needs to be some restriction on that or ordinance, but nothing definitive yet.
Which you can see that, I guess, the migrating birds, they come here and they stop over sometimes just to rest before they continue on where they're going. So they're here resting. So I guess if you're riding your bike, you are.
We're nesting.
Nesting. So yeah, I do see the reason.
From a safety standpoint, I would focus on sometimes, especially the faster cyclists, it's just really nice if you're coming up behind somebody to warn them and let them know, I'm on your left, I'm coming up, or I'm passing on your left, or ring your bell or something instead of just zipping by.
Yeah.
I joke around with people sometimes that just zip by me and they say nothing. I just go, on your right.
Thank you.
I get this look like, who are you?
So do you recommend the bell or the vocal?
Both.
Or both?
I do both. I write some articles for the Island Sun, and I did one on bicycle safety early on and had suggested the ringing of the bell. And somebody wrote back a nice letter to the editor saying, while I appreciate that, I can't hear the little ding of the bell. I need somebody to yell out really loud. I'm a little hard of hearing. So I think it doesn't hurt to do both. I just do both. If I have a bell, I don't have a bell on every bike, but I'll just call out, I'm on your left or I'm passing on your left well in advance.
Right. And then some people don't remember what the right and left is too.
Right.
So
I'm watching.
Right.
And put your phone down and be alert when you're cycling. It's scary. I see people riding around and they're doing this and they're doing the selfies and they're taking photos of this while they're riding the bike. It's just not a good combination.
No.
So just be
Good
smart.
tips.
And
Good
also
tips.
as a bikeless or as a
Bicyclist.
I like that.
Cyclist. I like a bicyclist.
Bicyclist.
A cyclist, like Nick said, there are driveways every 20 feet, I guess. That's something different that you would probably have at home.
Yeah. Especially if you're on the bike path and it happens to be on the the left side of the road, or you're going against traffic, and the cars don't always think to look right before they turn out.
Right. So and if you're driving, be aware of that too when you're crossing over the bike path or the shared youth path.
It's really sort of prevalent in a few places, but outside our studio particularly, there's a stretch of 20-30 businesses that have a driveway every 20-30 feet. So the rest of the island's probably not quite as much.
Yeah. And I think one of the coolest spots to cycle by is the old cemetery too.
Yes.
Do you love that?
Oh, I love that. I think a lot of people don't know about that either.
Right. Do you want to tell everybody about that?
Oh, it's a little hidden trail. I don't even know how to describe it. If you're on Casa y Bell and you go down Algiers Road as if you're going to Gulfside City Beach, there's just kind of this little hidden path off to the side you could easily miss that you can, meander down. It'll come back out on the main path, but you go right past the old cemetery.
Right.
It's kind of fun.
So follow the pathway down on the left, and then there's some barriers that if you went to the right of them, that would take you around to the beach. If you stayed to the left of them and follow the shared use path, that's the way you get around to it, and it brings you out on Middle Gulf Drive.
Yes.
Yeah.
So.
And how about the history of the bike path? We actually did a whole video about how the bike path started. Do you know the history?
I don't. I'm 2 years here.
Okay.
And, less than 2 years in the club, so I don't have the whole history on how that began.
Right.
But I know the bicycle club has been a big part of it.
Yeah.
You may be screwed on the trivia.
Oh, we might win.
Oh,
I've got
excellent.
some bike path history trivia.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Which we did. We actually did a video all about it. And it was started.
Yeah, check it out. We do. We talked all about the
how the
history.
women started it. A group of women got together because they wanted to protect their children riding, and they started this fund, and they did bake sales and sold necklaces and all kinds of stuff to raise the seed money, and then they went to the county and just said. And so here we are today with 25-ish.
Excellent.
You're going to let us know.
Starts with a small idea.
Yes, exactly.
First question.
Oh, okay. We're going in for it?
We're going in for it. We're going in for it because Max he's got to stop us before we start talking about
it. It was just the perfect
answers.
transition.
Okay.
How many miles of bike trails does Sanibel have?
Well, we just said, didn't we?
Sorry. There was two there.
We'll see if anybody was listening.
Yeah. Well, you guys don't have to write it down.
There is an exact answer.
And we need to know.
And I have it.
Oh.
Yeah, right.
I do.
25-ish.
25-ish. 25. All right. Mom had nothing, so she gets no points.
No points. There we go.
All right. Next question. As part of their campaign to bring bike paths back to the island, the Sanibel Bike Path Commission sold a metaphorical foot of the path. How much did a foot of the bike path cost?
Okay, so so this was this group of women. They sold, metaphorically, right, you could buy a foot of bike path. How much were they selling it for? That's the question. I don't know the answer. I don't remember, but I'm going to put something down. Here we go.
And I just saw yours, so one of us is way off.
You first.
$5.
What'd you put, Allison?
I think big.
$100.
I put 100 too. I think big as well.
Oh, yeah. You guys are way off. It was $2.
Oh, no, I won.
Yeah, Dad wins.
Clearly.
Dad wins.
We're big
$2. I was surprised it was that low.
Yeah.
But I guess if you think, I don't know.
It was a
Apparently, if they started the first bike path was just periwinkle, and then it's grown to
from there,
Yeah.
right? And then that was like
could have been shells as well. It could have just been
don't say the date, Mom.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Is that your next question?
Okay.
I don't know if anyone knows this, but
Probably I
to
will.
draw attention to the cause, how did the Bike Path Commission protest?
I do know this.
You do?
Yes.
Yeah, I do.
Dad, that's wrong.
Why is it too long? It's just the default answer. That's wrong.
What'd you?
Yeah, that's not his fault. You just changed it for. You just saw mine.
I did not.
She totally. Max, please look at that. Re-look at this footage. She totally just changed it. She had road down. Okay, I'm going to say what I said. Road down. Oh, they walked down Periwinkle, and you had road down Periwinkle, and you changed it.
Well, okay, I did put. I had. They rode
So no,
down
she's out on that one.
the middle of Periwinkle, trying to stop traffic or trying to cause a traffic jam of some sort. I'm interested in what Allison put.
Come on, Allison.
Who's been here 2 years?
2 years.
No pressure.
I said they were lying down in the streets.
Oh, wow.
I don't know if we've got that type of activist here on Sanibel.
I'm gonna have to award no points.
What do you mean?
Why?
They rode slowly down Periwinkle.
I was right.
I can't give a point to a cheater, Mom. You changed your answer. I'm sorry. I have to have some integrity for the game.
Yes,
You
exactly.
can't change your answer.
right.
You would have been right, but you weren't. All right.
So yeah, that is a cool story. We did, yeah. So they actually.
Don't pretend you know now. It's too late. Come
I
on.
did write road, and I changed it. All right.
Does Dad have the sole lead at 1 point to 0-0?
I think I do.
All right, stop the count. I have no more questions.
Just so Dad can
Exactly.
win.
I retire.
Ding the bell, Dad. That's it.
Come on.
Dad wins for the first time in upwards of 7 months.
There we go. I'm in,
0,
I'm in,
0,
I'm in.
0.
Good job.
I think yeah. All right. I think there's coercion or whatever
Yeah,
that word
right.
is
Yeah.
going
Coercion?
on. Coercion. Yeah. No,
Awesome.
He normally loses every time. So we.
Oh
have to,
my
we
God! You don't have to
give him
rub
one.
it in.
Exactly. Come on. Exactly. I just
to
try
know
to
if
make.
anyone-
I just try and make them look good. That's all it is.
Just
I
out of
wonder how many
curiosity-
episodes it's been since Dad's won.
Right. Just out of
I
curiosity,
think
did
last
you
week.
have another question, Mike?
I did.
What was it?
What year did the Sanibel Biking Commission start? Not the club.
I would go 19.
All right, you're gonna say
It's for
all
no
right.
points, by
It's
the way.
for no
Dad
points.
already
No
won.
points.
I already stopped the count.
All right, no
It's not
points,
really
but
points,
we'll
but
put-
I've got an answer.
You got the right answer?
You're really
Yeah.
digging back, Max. You need something more current.
I know.
No.
All right. What'd you put?
No, what did you put?
73.
I put 69.
Now I'm rethinking what I
I'm gonna put something in the middle.
Oh, the price is-
Allison gets the closest. It's
Excellent.
72.
Good job,
the
good
Price
job.
is Right strategy.
All right, so well, thanks very much for joining us. What's the best? Just say out the website for those that are listening and not watching.
SanibelBicycleClub.org.
Don't
that's
forget
the-
the .org.
.org and make so that's the best way to get in touch with the club.
Yes.
Everything can be done
Yes.
from there. You can apply for membership. You can find
Is
out the
there
events.
social media or is
Yes,
it kind of?
we do have a Facebook page. I can say a lot of our members maybe aren't as active on it as some others.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Right.
And we are starting up a meetup group. There's been some discussion about having a meetup group so that something a little bit more current where people can find out about us and see the
gotcha.
events going on.
So that's a social
that-
media thing, a
yeah,
meetup
we're-
group.
We're,
Okay.
we're practicing on that right now.
Gotcha.
So-
All right.
Fantastic. Awesome.
So-
Well, thanks very much
Oh,
for
thank
joining
you.
us.
Yeah,
it
my
was
pleasure.
awesome to have you here. And please do go ahead and check out the website. And we'll see you on the next
And
one.
Nick will be coming to the
Join
next
us for
round.
No, that's it. Once I get my
What
cleats
time
fixed.
Saturday?
8 a.m.
8, bright and
Okay.
early.
Wheels rolling.
Alrighty.
Looking for you, Nick. Looking for you.
Okay, and a quick shout out to our supporters. Without our supporters, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. Bailey's General Store, Doc Ford's Rum Bar and Grill, Spoondrift Island Bowls, 3 Crafty Ladies, GatorBites, Taylor Nail, Priscilla's of Sanibel, Coco y Cabana, Suncatchers Dream, and Sanibel Carts. And don't forget to reach out to Captains for Clean Water, one of our favourite island charities. Thanks very much. See you on the next.